Republican Advance. Joining us now live, Ambassador Alan Keyes. If you don't know that much about Alan Keyes, he was ambassador to UN. He was also a candidate for president, and he also ran for the U.S. Senate in both Maryland and Illinois, and ran against Barack Obama. He's a frequent guest on our show. Ambassador Keyes, great to have you, sir.
Great to be with you. How are you today?
I tell you what, fantastic. We've got a lot of issues to cover. I really want you to weigh in on this Staten Island, New York situation. Eric Gardner, I know you're following it. What's your take, Ambassador Keyes?
Well, first of all, I want to start out by saying that I agree with dissent, that we have to show respect for our police officers and for the role they play in our society. And I've been making that clear in the course of days now as we reacted to the Ferguson event. But I think American justice requires that we take account of the facts. I want people to be innocent until they're proven guilty, whether they're police officers or whether they're individuals who are accused of crimes in other respects. But when the facts come in, you look at those facts, you base your assessment on those facts, and you come to conclusions that are not based on we want law and order, but we want justice. And I think we distinguish between these two cases. If the facts come in and it looks like the perpetrator is the guilty party, not the police officer, then you come to the conclusion guided by the facts. And in the Eric Gardner case, you look at what is available in terms of what we have to make our judgments on in public. And I can't understand how that officer is not being held accountable for what happened. I don't know whether there was malice involved or not, but obviously there's malfeasance when you're making an excessive use of force against an individual. And so I think we ought to be guided by the facts and stop acting like this is always just a matter of some ideological statement we have to make. No, when it comes to justice, you want to look at what actually happened, and you want to base your decision on what actually happened to the best of your ability. That's American justice.
Okay, Ambassador Keyes, that makes a lot of sense. I want to get to what's going on right now in the House of Representatives. They had an amnesty bill last night. It's a symbolic measure. A lot of people seeing through the fact that this really doesn't mean anything. Speaker Boehner seems to be on a mission to pass an omnibus spending bill that would take any opportunity for Congress to fund President Obama or his amnesty actions off the table. What say you?
Well, I think it's time we looked at what's going on with the Republican leadership, and we're willing, as I've been willing to do for months now, to state the obvious. These folks may have gotten votes from hardcore conservative grassroots. They may have gotten votes from people who want to see Barack Obama's attack on the Constitution stopped. They may have even occasionally talked a good game about that, but they are not committed to it. A matter of fact, they come out of an election where that was clearly the message of the voters, and McConnell and Boehner both are out there saying, well, that was a mandate to work with Obama. No, it wasn't. It was a mandate to stop Barack Obama, to stop his disregard for the Constitution, to stop his disregard for American sovereignty, to stop his willingness to break the law in order to act like a little dictator in the United States. And I think it's about time people looked at what this Republican leadership is doing and came to the obvious conclusion. They're not working for the people who voted for them. They're working for the special interests that want to see immigration handled in a way that's going to redound to the benefit of their pocketbook and their political empires, and that's what they seem to care about. And I don't understand why more people aren't saying the obvious. This is not a case of incompetence. It's not a case of folks who don't have anything to do. They're actually taking everything they might do off the table. They took impeachment off the table for God knows what reason, because that's what the Constitution says you do when an executive goes beyond the boundaries of the Constitution and usurps legislative power the way this man is doing. But now they're taking the budget tools off the table and saying, well, we got to work with him and give him what he wants on the budget, and no, we can't be doing anything more than paying lip service. They're trying to stop what is self-evidently an attack on constitutional government in this country. So I think it's pretty obvious what's happening, and I hope that folks who are determined to represent their constituents in Congress will do something about it.
Ambassador, Mitch McConnell mentioned two areas of possible cooperation: fast-tracking new trade deals, comprehensive tax reform. What's the plan here?
I frankly think that step number one, if I am an individual and I say that somebody has, for instance, assaulted me violently, maybe sexually or whatever, right? And then that individual comes and wants to take me out to the movies and propose that we should have dinner together, and or maybe we could work on this area where they've got a special project. Am I going to say yes, or am I going to say no, I'll see you in court? I think that's pretty obvious. How can these people at one and the same time be out there pretending that they agree that this is a lawless president violating the Constitution, destroying what has been the basis, not just of our law and order, but of our national identity since this country was founded, the agreement on constitutional government? He's tearing it up. He's throwing it away. And they're playing business as usual. Oh, yeah, he's a really bad guy, but let's do business as usual. And then what areas do they pick? They pick areas like free trade where Americans have been shafted. They don't even have the excuse that this is necessary to do because it hurts our people. So you put it all together, and I say again, people may be saying, are they incompetent? Are they this? Are they that? I'm asking whether or not they're quislings. I've said it again and again. Whether or not this leadership in the Republican Party is determined to betray both their constituents and the Constitution and America itself, just like Barack Obama. We don't want him, and we don't want anybody who's going to play business as usual with him.
Ambassador Keyes, what's their objective? I mean, Boehner got a bigger majority, plus 13. McConnell's majority leader. People spoke. It was clear what the message was. Reince Priebus, the chairman of the RNC, went so far as to say this is the platform we're running on. It didn't include standing aside when President Obama decides to create an amnesty plan for up to 10 million illegals. I mean, is this not a slap in the face to everybody who turned out a month ago?
Of course it is. It leads you to ask the question, just very simply, who are they working for? Who do these people work for? Well, because they go out, they pay lip service to the things that get them votes. They get those votes, they pocket the results, and then they turn around the very night of the election. They did this, and now it's being carried out in action, where they're saying, no, we don't care about what you think. We want to work with this guy, and we want to get results, and we want to govern despite what the voters may have to say. Now, this isn't a matter of slapping us in the face. This is a matter of destroying our way of life. The Constitution is, as Lincoln described it, government of, by, and for the people. Okay, you go through the process. You have an election. The people express their view. And in this case, their view was a repudiation of Barack Obama, a repudiation of the party that foisted him off on us, a repudiation of the majority in the Senate that continually worked his will. And maybe, I didn't believe they had an excuse for working with him anyway, when it was to the detriment of the country, but they used to plead the excuse they didn't have the votes. What is it now that's their excuse? Okay, they don't have an excuse. And I think we have to start looking seriously at the fact they don't work for us. There are special interests in this country who have a deep stake in free trade. They have a deep stake in things that are going to bring cheap labor into this country. They have a stake in denigrating the sovereignty of the United States in order to elevate their own profits and their own bureaucratic empires. They seem to work for those people, not us.
Ambassador Keyes, what do you think the Republicans should do?
Well, let me correct one thing. It's Loyal to Liberty, T-O, loyaltoliberty.com.
Okay, thank you.
Well, what I think the Republicans need to do, first of all, is clean house. The American people express their desire to clean house in terms of all of this collaboration with Barack Obama's anti-American, anti-constitutional policies, which he has pursued across the board. And now I think people in the Congress itself, I don't care what the press say, and I don't care what this leadership says. People who are just elected to Congress have an obligation when they cast their vote for leadership to cast a vote in a way that reflects the mandate that came from the people. And whether it's in the Senate or the House, some vote has been taken in the Senate, yeah, but that can always be taken again. And in the House, the vote hasn't even been taken yet, and I think when they do take it, there needs to be a simple conviction on the part of the people who have just been elected that they will stay true to their constituents, not let themselves be intimidated by a leadership that seems determined to abandon the agenda of the constituency that the Republican Party claims that it serves and represents. It doesn't make any sense, and I think that that's what we have to hope for. And people need to be burning up the phone line so that the individual congressmen and senators understand that we are outraged at this betrayal of the election result.
Okay, I can't tell our audience more times. You got to get involved. You got to get on the phone, and you got to voice your displeasure with this. We're with Ambassador Alan Keyes, Common Sense News Time 728. I got about one more minute. You want to follow him on Twitter, go to @LoyalToLiberty, @LoyalToLiberty, or go to his website, loyaltoliberty.com. Ambassador Keyes, we are just about out of time. I've got about 1 minute. In 1 minute, if you have a message for grassroots conservatives today, what is it?
Well, I think they have to start thinking as Americans. We've got to get out of a partisan straitjacket and ask only one question. Is this good for America? Barack Obama is deathly bad for America, and everything needs to be done to stop his offensive against our way of life, his willingness to destroy our Constitution, which is at the heart of our success and is the heart of our common identity as a people. And if the Republican leaders do not wish to abide by that commitment to preserve our way of life, then we need to make it clear to them that we're not going to tolerate it. The idea that somebody expressed that we owe them loyalty, it's quite the contrary. They're supposed to be our representatives, and once they're elected, they owe us loyalty. And if they're betraying us, we give them none, not now and not hereafter. And so that's what I think ought to be the message that they're sending to their people in Congress. We didn't send you there to work with a man who's betraying our country, who's destroying our way of life, and who is determined to see this nation fail.
All right, that's going to be the final word. We want to thank Ambassador Alan Keyes for being with us today. And Ambassador Keyes, to you and your family, we wish you a happy holiday season and a very Merry Christmas, sir. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye-bye.